Okay, now we're going to learn about the midpoint and distance formulas. So the midpoint formula is a way to find the midpoint of a line segment. So if you have 2 points at the end points of a line segment, you can find the middle point, the midpoint, by applying this formula. And this is a formula, it's on your worksheet, but if you look at it, it's simply an averaging of the x coordinates and an averaging of the y coordinates. So for instance, x1 plus x2 divided by 2 is an average. Like if you had 2 test grades and you want to know your average, you would add them together, divide by 2. Same thing for the y's. So that's what we're looking at doing here. So we could ballpark this. This is a little sketch. Let's just see. 4, -9, where would that be? Over here, 4, maybe down, -9 might be there. And -12, let's see, -12, -3, what would that be? -12, -3, maybe something like that. I don't know. Maybe a little lower. If this is our line segment, what we're going to try to do is find the middle point somewhere in there. So we could use this formula. Now keep in mind, when you're looking for a midpoint, your result is going to be 2 numbers because it's a point, an x coordinate and a y coordinate. So it goes like this. You could label these x1, y1. When you're first learning how to do that, it's a really good idea to label these. So x1 plus x2 is 4 plus -12 divided by 2. And y1 plus y2 is a -9 plus a -3 divided by 2. So 4 plus -12 is -8. And -9 plus -3 is -12. So we find that the midpoint is at -4, -6. All right, let's just estimate this. Let's go over -4 and down -6. And that's about right there. So this is just a little sketch, but you can see what it's going to do. It's going to find the midpoint of those 2 guys. Here's the second example we have. If we have to find the midpoint between these 2, we'll simply average the x coordinates. The midpoint will be x1 plus x2, 7, plus 9, divided by 2, and y1, -2, plus y2, 5, divided by 2. 9 plus 7 is 16. 16 divided by 2 is 8. -2 plus 5 is 3. Divided by 2 is 3/2 or 1/2. That's the midpoint between these 2 guys. Okay, so that's what a midpoint is. We can also find the distance between 2 points by applying the distance formula. So you see the x1s and y2s. These are the names of points. So you could label this one x1, y1, this one x2, y2, or vice versa. But again, when you're first learning how to do these, it's a good idea to label those so that you can just plug these numbers in. The distance between these 2 points is equal to the square root of x2 minus x1. So the way that I've labeled these, this is my x2, 5, this is my x1, minus 4, quantity squared, plus, I'm following this formula, y2, which is a 9, minus y1, which is a 6, squared. And then we just use order of operations to evaluate this. This is the square root of 5 minus 4 is a 1, squared. 9 minus 6 is a 3, squared. This is equal to the square root of a 1 plus a 9. The square root of 10, that is the distance between those. Just take note of something. When we were trying to find a midpoint, we got 2 numbers because you need 2 numbers to make a point. When you're trying to find a distance, we got 1 number. There's 1 length between 2 points, so it's a different result here. Let's go ahead and find the distance between these 2 points. The distance is equal to the square root of x2 minus x1. So this minus is part of the formula. This minus is what that number brought with himself. Plus y2, 11, minus y1, which is 7, quantity squared. This is equal to the square root of 2 minus -3 is really 2 plus 3, 5 squared, plus 11 minus 7 is a 4 squared. The distance is equal to the square root of a 25 plus a 16. If I add those together, I get 41. So the distance is the square root of 41. That's what we get for those. Okay, I'm going to stop, and then we're going to do the second part of the worksheet, which involves circles, separately on a separate video. So that's about to come.